Crash. The transport ship Starling V was never meant for long-distance travel, but necessity pushed the crew of 16 to attempt the jump. The war between the Terran Confederacy and the Hellion Collective had escalated beyond expected projections, and evacuations became desperate gambles. Among the crew was Dr. Ilara Knox, a cybernetic engineer with a reputation for brilliance and a habit of keeping to herself. She had never asked to be on Starling V. The assignment came after she built a neural web that could allow paralyzed soldiers to walk again. Someone somewhere believed she was too valuable to leave behind, so they forced her onto the ship. The jump went wrong. A Hellion EMP missile exploded mid-transition, throwing Starling V off course. The vessel tore through dimensions, screamed through folds of spacetime, and came apart piece by piece until it crash-landed on an uncharted moon orbiting a dead gas giant. Of the 16, only 7 survived the impact. And by morning, only 5 remained. Dr. Knox's leg had shattered during the crash, crushed by a collapsing bulkhead. The med kit had enough synth skin and nanobots to stabilize the wound, but not repair the damage. Her neural implants were fried. Ironic, given her work, leaving her unable to use the very technology she had once invented. The others saw her as a burden. Captain Treller argued she would slow them down. The atmosphere was breathable, but only near the wreck. The distress beacon was weak. They needed to search for resources, shelter, and possibly a place to plant the auxiliary transmitter where the interference was weakest. "Leave her a week of rations and move," Treller said coldly. "You'd leave a scientist like her behind," argued one voice. That voice belonged to Leon Virek. A systems technician, Leon was average in every way, unremarkable except for his fierce loyalty and absurd optimism. While the others prepared to move, Leon stayed by Ilara's side, setting up a solar tarp to keep her warm and dragging over parts of the ship to build a shelter. "She's not dead," he told the others. "And I'm not abandoning her." The others left. Part 2, The Wasteland. Days passed. Ilara lay in a crude cot made from cargo webbing. Her legs splinted with carbon steel rods and thermofiber, pain flaring every time she shifted. The ship's wreckage groaned in the wind. Atmospheric storms howled each night, coating everything in dust that glowed faintly with bioluminescent particles. Leon kept busy. He scavenged food from the survival packs, set motion sensors around their perimeter, and mapped the terrain using the ship's half-functional drones. He even found a geothermal pocket beneath a nearby ravine, which he hoped to use for power. "You're wasting your time," Ilara muttered one night. "I've got plenty to waste," Leon said, smiling as he stirred rehydrated stew. "I'm not walking again," she said. "And if a rescue doesn't come, you'll die with me. Then I'll die in good company." His cheer grated on her nerves. She was used to being the smartest in every room, the most capable, the one people came to for solutions. Now, she couldn't even crawl 10 meters without blacking out. The reality of her situation crushed her, more than the wreckage ever did. Leon tried to distract her with stories. Growing up on a farm station near Mars, how he once rewired a fusion core with chewing gum and blind luck. His obsession with old Terran jazz. She rarely responded, but secretly, she found his presence comforting. Until the 3rd week. That's when the creatures came. They resembled centipedes the size of dogs, segmented, chitinous, with rows of glittering black eyes. Leon shot the first with a flare gun and drove the rest away using high-frequency sound blasts from the comm dish. "They're intelligent," Ilara whispered. "They were scouting us." Leon nodded grimly. "And they'll be back." He fortified the shelter, improvised traps using fuel cells and pressure plates, and stayed up for 2 nights in a row, keeping watch. Then one afternoon he vanished. Part 3. Abandoned again. Ilara waited 10 hours before accepting he might not come back. She tried to rationalize. Maybe he was scouting and got caught in a storm. Maybe he'd found the others. Maybe he was dead. For the first time since the crash, she cried. But as the sun dipped into the haze, she heard a signal. 3 short beeps, a pause, then 3 more. It repeated in perfect Morse code. Safe. Leon limped into camp an hour later, bloodied and breathing hard. I found their den, he said. The centipedes. They're nesting near the geothermal vents. Think. They feed off heat. That's why they're drawn here. You went out there alone. I had to. Our power readings spike every night. We're a buffet to them. She stared at him. You're insane. Maybe. But I saw something else. He pulled a data chip from his vest. There's an old Helion relay drone buried near the nest. I think I can hack it. If I get a signal through, rescue is possible. You'll never survive a second trip, Ilara warned. Leon leaned closer. Not alone. Ilara clenched her jaw. You're joking. You're the only one who understands Helion tech better than me. I can't even stand. Leon hesitated, then reached into his bag and pulled out something small and metallic. An exoskeletal brace. I built this from your blueprints. She blinked. That's impossible. It's crude. But if we link it to your suit's spinal port, you might walk again. Not far. But enough. It took them 3 days to calibrate the brace, wiring it to her implants, adjusting for the misfiring nerves. The pain was agonizing. Every step felt like her bones were grinding into dust. But she walked. Together they left the wreckage. Part 4. The Nest. The journey to the geothermal vent took 6 hours. They moved slowly, Ilara hobbling beside Leon, whose own injuries from his last trip still bled. They camped twice, sleeping in shifts. As they approached the vent, the air thickened with heat and a coppery scent. The landscape cracked open into a wide basin lit by glowing fissures. The centipedes skittered around in the distance, tending to bulbous egg sacs and dragging wreckage into nests. The relay drone was half buried in the basin wall, fused to a Helion escape pod. Ilara crouched beside it. The core's intact. I can reroute its comms array. Leon took position with his rifle. You've got 10 minutes. Ilara worked fast, fingers shaking as she typed commands into the drone's console. The brace on her leg buzzed and twitched, struggling to compensate for the strain. Her vision blurred. Suddenly, a screech tore through the basin. The centipedes surged forward. Leon fired. The first dropped, then another. But they kept coming. Dozens crawling over each other in a frenzied wave. Ilara screamed. I need more time. Leon activated a proximity charge. It exploded in a white-hot flash, hurling centipedes backward, buying her precious seconds. She finished the upload and screamed. Done! It ran. Ilara's leg gave out. She collapsed halfway up the slope. Leon didn't hesitate. He dragged her over the edge, both of them tumbling down the other side. Behind them, the drone's antenna lit up. The signal pulsed into the sky. Part 5. The Last Day. They reached the shelter the next night. Both bleeding, both barely conscious. Ilara checked the receiver. No response. The signal had gone out, but there was no telling if anyone heard it.